Hello, Western Civ 104. Welcome to week 3. So before I start, um, I'm still getting papers with no dates and works cited and people using outside sources. Um, this is my last time I'm going to discuss this. Okay. Um, for already, some of you, I'm putting zeros, and I'm just putting zeros without explanation. And this is going to be the last week I let anybody do makeup work for ignoring these factors, okay? Um, you guys are mainly doing great, but I'm still having a problem with this on papers. And if there's a question or a problem, then you need to contact me, okay? So look, here's how this works. Sunday papers, here is the whole point. It's for you to reiterate what you learned in class, which I've stated in the announcement before and gave an example about. If you use outside sources, you are not doing the assignment correctly, because first of all, there's a lot of garbage on the internet, and I don't want you using stuff that it's not even clear if it's really scholarly uh, or credible sources. And also, it's not doing what we're trying to get done in this class, which is to basically, again, so just to kind of put it all together, the discussions, the video notes, and the paper. I'm looking at your discussions, your notes, and your paper to see that you are actually watching all the videos and putting some thought into the information. And when you have outside sources, that's not what this class is. Okay? So you will have history classes that have research projects or allow for that. But that's not the case. And so again, not the case for this. And having dates covering time periods, super crucial. Having works cited with the example I gave and the notes on Sunday papers, just even the brackets, super important. Okay, I can't stress it enough. So please stick to that. Also, if you're taking video notes, it should be paraphrased from what you saw. If I see some of you are really just cutting and pasting like statements from my PowerPoints or something that looks like that. So don't do that. But unless I've said anything to you about that, you should be fine. But if I start to, well, anyway, just don't do that. I'm looking to see. Okay, most of you at this point are not sending me pictures of writings of notes, like scanned but actually typed. So always make sure you send me typed notes. And let me see. Okay. Oh yeah. And so this is the last thing. Sometimes some of you are relying on your phones for this class to follow the information, and there's a little danger in that. Like, so you might not see that you're getting announcements on your phone, or that I left comments on the assignment grade. I'll give you a grade and then I'll give you comments, and you're just seeing the grade. I'm also sometimes writing notes into the videos, above the videos, explaining some things. Or on my titles, I'm saying write 4 notes on afterwards, and if they're longer videos, and you are just not seeing those. So just be aware to be careful about relying too much just on your phone to guide you through this class, some of your smartphones. And also be aware to always look, as I open up a module for this week's work objective. So work will always be due on Thursdays and Sundays. Sometimes I'll give you an extension on some, and they'll all be due on Sundays. Or sometimes I'll give you just work on Thursdays and cut out a Sunday paper. So, but you will never have any different days other than Thursdays and Sundays. And the usual expectation will be discussions and notes due on Thursdays, papers on Sundays. Okay? So at this point, as we're going into week 3, you should really be like, this should be helpful in you knowing like exactly what is going on. And so let's see. And then, okay, so we just covered ancient Israel, which I think is very fascinating. And there's a lot more I'd like to go into and talk about with that. So, but we just had to give enough to try to get the idea about the foundations of Western civilization, and ancient Israel counts as that. What I want you to keep in mind, if you take my World Civ 106 class, that I do a very similar lecture for ancient Israel, and I do a separate one for Judaism. So just as a side note, those of you, especially coming from a Christian background, will look at Jewish people and the Jewish religion and the current politics between Israel and Palestine through the lens of ancient Israel, and you're misunderstanding everything. Okay? Not everything, but quite a chunk. Judaism relies heavily on the Talmud, and it evolved in its own religious course, especially with the destruction of the temple. And so there's just a major misunderstanding that Christianity, Protestant Christians in particular, I think, have, because they're so heavily involved with reading the Old Testament portion and reading about Jews as they're discussed in the New Testament, that they then kind of place these texts into the modern world. And again, they miss out on a lot of things. So moving on from that, we're now covering Greece. And ancient Greece, as you are going to see, really covers the real strong, clear-cut foundations of Western civilization, because it's in the vocabulary, right? When we talk about democracy, demos, it's a Greek word, all the ocracies, right? And then we're going to cover Rome. And so Greece and Rome, that is a solid thing. When we talk about the Egypt and ancient Israel, it's not as straightforward as Greece and Rome when it comes to the foundations, because politics in particular is built on a Greco-Roman model. Okay, and so I think this is also important for us to go over now too, because we are in a very political time, and it's good to really have a better understanding of these kind of root concepts. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to be at work tomorrow, and then I'll be off on Tuesday. Please always contact me if you need anything. I always want to be there for all of you if you need help, and keep hanging in there during these crazy times.